Hi folks, it's John from lastchanceautorestore.com. Another glamorous day working on Eileen. This is an update on the 1978 Volkswagen Westfalia camper, or bus as some people like to refer to it as. In our earlier video with Eileen, I shared with you where we had tested some sections or spots on this bus or van. And we were amazed on the amount of paint and body filler in improper use and layers. So basically we're going to share with you a couple of panels. So on this door I can see what they were kind of trying to do. You can see along the bottom, the camera can pick it up I think if it gets a little bit closer, there's lots of pitting and surface rust, and it's quite common on the buses along the bottom. But what's happened here, and I'll share with you as we come down, there's more rust in this area and along the bottom here. This is a really large dent, and it still has body filler on it. That was probably thicker than a quarter of body filler. We've removed, and we're going to remove all of that, and it's a dent, so we're going to actually have to hammer and dolly that out. These two holes that you see here are for the reflector. There's two screws that hold a marker light that reflects in this area. So basically they had lots of body filler that they kind of laid on top of this, and the reason why you see all of this kind of like a webbing look or a rusted area the way it's gone like this is they didn't have the metal protected. So what they've done is they've put body filler on top of all of this rust and tried to smooth it out, and then sprayed it with primer, and then kept building up with different layers of coats of paint and primer. And then what happens obviously is the condensation gets trapped in behind and it rusts, and that's where you get like body filler or Bondo nickname peeling and pulling away. So we've removed numerous layers on this door. Then we came to the sliding door, and you can see now this is stripped to metal. You can see these areas here, there's lots of little dings and dents along the sides, and we have some corrosion once again along the bottom seams here that's scaling, but it doesn't look like it's through. And then some rust down in here, and there's a dent, some body damage to the sliding door. So it's if I just mentioned to you it was thicker than a quarter, to kind of put it in perspective, I don't know how many mils that is, but it's the equivalent of about 12 coats of product, and it's incredible. It's hard on your arms and stuff removing all of this product. And just to prove it, if the camera person can come down to the quarter panel, I left a section just to prove to our client and to those of the viewers. I guess we're going to trade spots here with the camera person. First of all, on the top, you can see this large rust scale. This is the same idea as the front door. They're trapping rust underneath with body filler, not sealing the paint, and then it's pushing away and trapping the moisture in behind. But as we come down to this lower panel, first of all, we've got body damage here. So at some point someone has scrubbed along here because there's a dent in the front. There's a little bit of a crease. The camera's not going to be able to pick it up, but there's a slight crease along the bottom here. So rather than try to repair it, they just put a bunch of body filler on top. And then to this section, it's rotted through, and there's pinholes. And I'm not sure, the camera will probably pick that up, I would think. You can see I can actually poke right through here. So it's just body filler. And once we remove all of this, I believe this is all split open, and it's rust, because that's where there's a support piece to the inside of the van meeting the outside of this quarter panel. So we got a couple things going on. First of all, the thickness of this body filler is insane, because here we have, now this is just a Canadian quarter, I think it's the same thickness as other currency, but if I set this quarter on top of the metal, believe it or not, the body filler is thicker than this quarter is. And if you imagine going around the whole bus, that's what I'm dealing with, removing all this product. Now keep in mind, that's just the body filler, but then we have about 7 or 8 coats of paint and primer and skim coats of body filler on top. You can see this pink stuff is old style body filler. This white stuff or lighter gray stuff is newer body filler on top of it, and then we have several layers of paint we removed to get to this point. So you have almost 1.5 thicknesses of a quarter going all the way around. So if you visualize how much fun I've been having, Eileen and I have had some moments where I couldn't believe, like, it can't be any thicker, and as we're sanding, it's getting to the point where it's amazing how much filler is there. Now we come to this back passenger corner. You can see there's lots of rust here, and the same kind of idea. Everything was distorted, and even our clients asked, what's going on here? Because it looks really wobbly and something's really goofy in this area. And I thought originally that there was patches that were put on top of the original steel, and then body filler on top of that. But there was just so much body filler on this whole side. And you can see here, once again, it's all rotted through. So rather than do a proper repair, my pen's going to go through all of these holes. So rather than cut that out and deal with it, weld new steel in and do it properly, someone has decided it's much easier just to pack a bunch of body filler in there, and that'll be good enough for now and kind of hide all of the rust and corrosion. And then we have some dents here, which I believe tie into the creasing over there, because this is quite a large dent that the camera won't be able to pick up, but it's about the size of a fist or of a softball that's dented in. So we're going to try to hammer and dolly and work this area out instead of relying on body filler. Same thing here, it's about the size of a baseball with the sharp crease, and we're going to deal with that hammer and dolly. Now we're dealing with the corrosion here. We also have, which we expected, this is the passenger rear side or rear corner, and this is the notorious battery tray area of Volkswagen buses and single cabs, and all of the trucks have the same concern, where the battery tray, these circles that you see here are indentations from the factory spot welds, because they weld that battery tray to this outer skin or outer quarter panel, and it comes around under the tail light, and you can see all of the rust, and there's literally rust holes through here too. So it's rotted through below the battery tray, and then the battery tray is also rotted out. So the camera person can come around through the engine bay area, and we'll get closer looks of it later, but you can see where pollution stuff is in the way. But I think if we shoot right through the tail light, you can see we've got corrosion all the way through. The support piece is all rotted. There's a piece of plywood that was laying in there, and it was painted black. So once we removed the nice plywood repair, we were able to expose all of the rust. So that'll all have to be cut out and removed and new pieces put in. And then we'll probably stop in this area and we'll continue on stripping. So you'll see here we still have more stripping to do. There's an amazing amount of rust and body damage in this lower area. You can see all the rust that's been trapped underneath the body filler again, and then we've got some pinholes going through. So we're going to have to do quite a bit of work to this section. We'll probably have to buy the replacement panel. We'll be cutting this out and removing it, remove the tray, put a new battery tray in, and then new metal in this area. So far, this is the passenger side, so we'll come over with the camera. So you can see from this end, there's still quite a bit to go. We've got lots of corrosion along these panels here, and then I think the camera can probably pick it up. There's lots of stuff going on further, because you can see the different layers. There's a big hunk that's out of here. This crease or seam, as you follow it down, it's supposed to be defined, and it's plugged full of body filler and it's all cracking. So obviously there's layers of product on here too, and then there was some rust that they didn't really deal with, and then there's lots of body filler and stuff. So more surprises, I guess, as we go along, but we're basically going to focus with Eileen, pardon me, we're going to focus on this groove line down and remove the excessive body filler, expose all the body damage, and we'll continue to go all the way around the bus. We'll do another update when we get closer with the driver's side, So far, this has been quite a challenge, but it is exposing everything we want to see. It also shows the client, it kind of removes the doubt, because we were wondering what was going on in the lower section, and obviously we're going to do it right. So we'll end up cutting these bad pieces out, welding new steel in and do it properly, and then we'll be sanding more of this down. Once we have all the new patches in, we'll sand this down properly so the metal will be quite shiny, and then we'll protect it with a two-part epoxy. But that's quite a ways from, we've got several hours of sanding still to go. So just a quick update. This is the 78 Volkswagen Westfalia. This is Eileen, and I thank you for watching. I'm John from lastchanceautorestore.com.